2020 minutes. Did everybody have a chance to look at them?
Yep. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, that brings us right into new business here. First one here is 2020 Christmas tree lighting, and I know I'm gonna kinda give this over to Janet here. Is I didn't know if I couldn't remember if we set a date for sure or
We
not.
didn't. We talked about it after the meeting, and then we said that we would, talk about it during this meeting.
Right.
So we have not set a date. Do we wanna do it, or do we not?
Okay.
What were you thinking, Ronnie, or what were
well,
you thinking, John?
Well, Liza, I talked to her today, and she said that if we decide just to get a Christmas tree, that she still could get the FCCLA or a youth group from South Zone Road to still light the tree, at least have it up there in the gazebo. She said, with the COVID going around and people gathering and people going here, she said it's been kind of a tough situation for everything.
Right.
So
I think
go ahead.
I
Jen.
think the tree would be nice at least.
Yeah.
And if we don't do the lighting of it this year, then at least put the tree up there. That's pretty nice
Right, to have it done.
have that done.
Yeah, and I got the lights, I think, whatever, she returned them, so I do have the lights still for the tree, and I got the stand, so, I told her that I could go to Houston's and check when they get their deliveries of trees, and we usually have a 9-footer that fits underneath that gazebo, and everybody kind of agrees with that, at least get the tree up there.
Yeah.
Does that sound okay?
Can you just explain, so they do the Christmas, what will be the issue with lighting?
Nothing, we always have some group usually light it,
Oh, okay.
for the
Okay.
ceremony,
Yeah.
and.
Sort of formally then,
yeah,
okay.
formally then that.
So, I think if we're in the park and we're socially distancing, I think they should still be able to do it, shouldn't they? I don't know
But,
why.
Yep.
We usually get a hold of a pastor,
Yeah.
someone that comes in and kinda gives a little thing, then did the band play from
Yep.
The
KM?
band
Yep.
has played in the past. I didn't contact them this year, because
They probably would if you asked them. They got
yeah,
the
they probably would.
I don't think they have a lot else going on right
They
now,
got
event-wise either.
special
Yeah.
things
You
for their
know,
instruments on them.
I just think if we can be outside, I'd like to try and preserve that normalcy, as
But then
much,
we have
especially
an
with Christmas,
MC.
Okay,
Who would be a good person for an MC?
yeah,
We've had McKern, we had Matt Nelson, and, the one that actually started the tree lighting, I can't think of his name. He was a Boy Scout, and he wrote a letter.
Was it a Reed?
Yeah, yeah. He wrote a letter to Matt Nelson, who was mayor at that time, and said we should do this, and so we did, and then it kinda stopped, and we started again, and so then we need an MC to get up there, and, the pastor will have a little something to say, and
How
have
about the
an
city
MC.
administrator?
I was gonna say, we've got a senior council member right here who would, just do a great job, longest tenured current council member.
There you
so,
go. I'll do it.
if I needed to help out with something, I sure would try, but whoever, I just think it's nice if we can kinda keep that
Sure, I'll
going.
do it.
Okay, well, let's go with that then.
Yeah.
So I picked out the date, it's either gonna be on Friday, November 20th, that's gonna be before, we usually have it on a Friday night, that we have in the past, and it works out
That was
good,
me.
because the reason why we have Thanksgiving that lands on the next weekend on Friday, and people are off, and that
Yeah.
one.
Right, that wouldn't work, no.
Then the next, it's already in December, so we kinda like to have the tree up and going
And
for.
Advent starts the end of November anyway this year.
Exactly, so
So-
I'm thinking maybe Friday, November 20th, does that sound fair?
Mhm.
And we usually, I think, started at, I look back, I think we usually have at 6 o'clock or
Was it
something.
6?
Yeah, I think it was 6 o'clock, 6
Okay.
PM,
I know it was cold.
up at the North Park.
Always is.
So, put it at 6
And
PM.
in the past, I've done flyers and put up around town, but I don't have access to a color copier anymore.
Okay.
So, we need
If-
flyers or,
If you need something like that, you can either get a hold of me, I can make copies out to the shop, or you can come up to City Hall and make some copies.
oh, okay.
That's fine. So Dan, you're gonna be the MC?
Sure.
Sounds good.
Sure.
Have you ever gotten, do they get a nice piece in the paper about it too then, or no?
Yeah, usually I think we had.
It'd be nice to get that in there, a nice feature
Yeah.
piece, and.
I think Wayne Harrison is there taking pictures.
Wayne Hendrickson,
Lance
yeah, for the
Hendrickson,
Lions.
That'd be
yeah.
good.
So, did you wanna do that then, Jan? Would you just wanna get a hold of the DCI, get a hold of them?
Sure.
and then,
Too skinny for
see
Pat.
what you can
Muscular
come up
Santa
with
Claus,
with
come
the-
on.
the
Pre-Christmas
things
Santa
that
Claus.
we're looking at.
Us being on BCI.
That's true.
Okay, that sounds good.
Anybody got a suggestion on a pastor? I choose a pastor here in town before we go out, of the community out of town, cause it is a Casson community tree lighting, so I kinda like to stay a pastor here in town. We've had,
We have Pastor,
We had Mr. Don't we have Pastor Wiedenbach? too?
no,
he's
that was
not
John
Oh,
we had,
Tudor.
Yeah. from the
Tudor out
Baptist
last
church.
year, we had,
He's always good.
Hanson.
Jake was there, yeah, years
Yeah.
before.
I had asked the guy from St. John's, but he backed out on me that year because I think they were going out of town for Thanksgiving.
And I don't know if he'll,
And I don't know, is he sick?
he's battling, issues, so
Mm.
I wouldn't,
So he probably wouldn't be a good one.
no.
Well,
Why don't you ask John again?
Clint, Presbyterian Church?
He's not
He's not there anymore.
Why don't you ask
He
Pastor
retired.
Tudor again?
Oh, well, good for him. I haven't seen him in a while, so I wondered
The
why.
Presbyterian does have a new one, a female, Amanda somebody.
Oh, yeah, that's right, I saw the sign there.
I could ask her, she's new.
that's fine. That sounds good.
He doesn't know any better yet.
Being new in town, maybe she wants to get out and
Yeah, that might be nice for her, sure.
Yeah.
get her out in public, so, yeah.
Okay, so November 20th, 6 p.m., Janet is gonna be the band and the pastor, Dan's gonna MC it, and, we'll get some flyers put out there and go from there. Sound good? I will check with Houston's on the tree, and then, Liza will have either one of them groups, and I will contact her to make sure that the tree, the lights are put on the tree, and then who usually, will Dan be the one that plugs in the lights then?
Mhm.
You get to plug them in?
Well, I got a lot of things to do, I don't know.
You can have your girls do it.
That's right.
You gotta have a long speech, you know
Yeah,
how
it's
it
gonna be
goes.
about 30 seconds.
That's all it takes, short and sweet.
Sounds good.
Uh,
Anything else on, yeah.
Just one thing before we moved off of that completely, I don't know if you guys have ever done anything with the Christmas in Casson. I know that's more of like the downtown commercial folks, just so they, I think, they're looking at December 11th, something like that, 11th, 12th, kinda that weekend. It got moved back a week because reindeer shortage, so had to reschedule. So they could get them the same week, so, but just so we know that's coming up in December
That's
too.
late for a tree though.
Yeah, that would be really late.
Sounds good. And while we're talking on that, I thought I would just, I know I was gonna do this under correspondence, but since we're you, Kim, Castle Manderville Care and Share, gave me a letter, just to let everybody know what's gonna happen this year about the auction. It'll be online, and there will be no dinner, it's strictly online. It's gonna go from, it says to Monday, November 16th, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Tuesday, November 17th, from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can get online and then, auction or give donations or whatever you wanna place on the auction, whatever, for items and stuff. But, cash donations can be mailed to the Canton Area Care and Share, and anything that you wanna donate, take down to the liquor store, to Kathy. So in the past, we've always donated a book of, individual passes, valued at $55. I was just gonna ask the board, is that something that we wanted to kinda keep doing yet, if, that sounds good to everybody?
That would be fine.
That would be fine.
Okay, I will drop that off and fill the form out and give that to Kathy, Kathy, down the liquor store. And then, we'll get the passes and get them complete for that, okay? Just to let everybody know. Okay. Okay, with that, we'll go to discuss the 2021 Aquatic Center fees. Me and Tim got together here probably a couple weeks ago, and maybe even a week ago, we kind of thought about, we probably should really start thinking about our fee schedule, about what we want to do with the Aquatic Center. One of the reasons is that we knew going in this year, 2020, with COVID-19, that, there could be a situation where we're gonna lose, maybe more money than we normally do. Well, it kinda ended up being that way. We had a great summer, we had great weather, we had quite a few people that did visit, the facility, but I do know that we didn't really have a lot of Casson residents come compared to maybe a lot of people outside the town. That's kinda what, when me and Josh got done at the end of the year, we were kinda surprised on that, but that really basically was, and I'll get the numbers from Nancy on all this here, and we can go through that here later on in another meeting, but, we still had a good year for what we had to go through. Our staff did a fabulous job, just keeping things clean and keeping things going, and I have to compliment them for doing that. But with that, we need to look at, I think, increases, possible increases of family passes, single passes, resident, non-resident. We also gotta look at daily admissions, and then we gotta look at swim lessons. Swim lessons will be a key too, coming up. Now, what I did, just to let everybody go through, I went back on the 2019 page of what we charged people in 19, because this year, we didn't do family memberships, if everybody recalls. We didn't do that. We just went the 5 hours.
And that's a lot of people I've talked to, that's harder for them. They were more used to the family pass. That's why it was harder for them to come to the pool.
Yep.
'Cause, you know,
Right.
so I know you'll get it a lot back
Right.
next year.
Another thing too that we gotta remember too is that me and Tim, talked about was that Silver Lake Pool closed in Rochester.
Right.
We are gonna maybe get more people possibly coming from Rochester. I know Stewart will get some people, St. Charles gets some. But I do know that we have a lot of people that come from Rochester and uses our facility. So what I ended up doing, I broke everything down. I went through all the numbers that, was on our page that Nancy gave to us. You know, she always does a year by year of what we have. So when I broke down everything and went back to see what we charged in 2019, whatever, like say our passes, family passes for a resident was $180 in 2019. Okay, we set the passes the same as for 2020, but we didn't go there. Okay, for single passes in 2019 for a resident, we charged $80. Okay, for non-resident in 2019, we were at $210. And for single, in 2019, we're at $95 for a single pass for non-residents. Okay, I looked at everything and I know that we gotta try to come up and generate some money. No matter how we look at it, we gotta have to raise our passes. And I'm sorry, but I mean, it is the way it is. It is expensive to run the facility. Number two, that I look at too, is that we have to cover the expenses of the employees, because the cost of living keeps continually going up. And the money that we spend is over half of our money, or maybe more, on just wages for lifeguards, okay, and staff. So my suggestion is, from compared, basically what I would like to see, or just give this out to you, and you guys can discuss it, but I put an increase from 180 to 200 for family passes for 2021. Okay, that's for the city of Casson residents. As far as the single, I went from $80 to $95. Okay? With that, just on the family passes alone, in 2019, with the numbers that I took off Nancy's slip, we generated, for family passes, we generated $43,680. If we went, this was just residents now, if we went with the increase I said, we could increase another $10,000, so it'd be up to $53,000, just adding $20, okay?
Would it really be that high, Ron?
Yes, it would.
Cause if you multiply,
No,
you're saying
because
to
you look
200.
at, you look
if
at
you
all
look
the
at-
numbers.
If you take times 10%, that's $18, so I'd be looking at more like 10% higher revenue, maybe 12% higher revenue as opposed to 20% higher revenue.
Well,
Cause you're looking at about 20% higher revenue.
that's right.
Now, I'm not saying that all told it wouldn't be aggregate wise, but I just, when I calculated it out, that puts you at like 48,000 or something like that. But I could be way off.
Yeah, well, when I did all the numbers and added everything all up,
Sure.
when I went and looked at how many people that we sold, like we sold 173 passes, we know the exact number, and you times it by the numbers,
Sure.
then it comes up to be these numbers. So, like I said, when I added up all the passes in 2019 for just residents, and what we sold, and then the early birds, because we give them a break, whatever. In 2019, we made $43,680 on just family passes and single passes for residents.
Oh, and single passes,
And single
not just the
passes,
family
no,
passes, okay.
And single.
Okay, all right.
So then if we do the increase,
That's the difference.
then it would be 53,000.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. I was just looking at the family passes.
Oh.
Cause you said you had 173 of those, so that'd be
That's
about.
only 3,500.
3,500, and then
Yeah.
you'd see the rest of it on the single, so,
But
okay,
it-
no, that's fine,
that's
just
okay.
checking the math there, but
Okay.
no.
So then we went to non-resident I did, okay? So in 2019, we had them at $210 for a family pass. So I increased it to $250 for non-resident, okay? $40 increase. We went up as a resident 20, the non-residents are gonna go up 40, okay? The single, they were at 95 in 2019, and in 2021, they were at 120. So when the numbers get added up for non-residents, in 2019, we took in $17,308. With the increase, we're gonna take in $22,485. So right there is about a good increase between them two, just on family and single passes. Okay, we're gonna make $14,557 more, just with the numbers based on 2019. People that buy the passes, so we're looking at 15 grand on memberships. Okay,
Would you
that's
do
not-
the early bird thing too?
Yep.
With the same?
Yeah, I did this whole, I figured it all out, that's
Okay.
exactly what it all amounts to,
Hmm.
giving them the break and everything, okay? That's
Mhm.
all added in here, so, that would be my numbers, and I'll break it down, and I didn't have a chance to break it down and give you all a piece of paper, but I was getting it figured out here at the end tonight, so that's a good thing. Okay, now we go to daily admissions. We made a motion last year to increase it to $6. I feel we have to at least, and I think Tim said too, we have to at least stay at $6.
So to preface that, so this year we ended up reverting it to $5.
Right.
Because of the way it went, so I think that's kinda why Ronnie says at least we have to hold the line on $6 that we had already approved for this year, we just didn't implement, so.
Right. So in 2019 numbers, just to give you an idea, we had $5, we sold 20,569 individual passes. That was $100,426. With going to 6, we'll increase it to $123,414, so 23 grand we'll make on just going $1 more, if we sell 20,000 individual passes, which I know we will. Because in the previous years, we sold 22,000. In 18, we sold 20,000. In 17, we sold 23,000 in 16. So I know we're gonna hit 20,000. So that's gonna be an increase of revenue for daily passes. Which then comes down and brings us to swimming lessons, which I had a great conversation with Josh, and he talked to a lot of other people in surrounding towns, and looking at people at the Y down here. Swim lessons, we've been undercharging for years. Y right now is $100 to have a set of lessons, a weekly set of lessons. They get $100 for indoor. In other areas, whatever, they're between 60 and 100. We're at 40. So what I did, I took it on the low end. I thought we could increase it to $60, a $20 increase. So in 2019, we had around 670 kids take lessons. We generated $26,809. If we go with the same amount of kids, 670 kids at $60, we're gonna generate $40,200. It'd be an increase of another $13,000. So when you add it all up, between the lessons, between the family passes, and between the daily admissions, we could generate another $50,000, $51,000. That's just on all lessons, memberships and whatever. That's an increase that I feel that the Aquatic Center needs to do. Because if we lost $65,000 in 2019, and we lost $100,000 this year.
110,000.
110. We need to do something. And I just feel that a $20 increase for a resident membership is not much.
No, I mean, it sounds like a lot, but when you look at it in terms of the uses, then, I know we also, the other thing that we talked about is targeting our spending a little bit more too, possibly with advertisements. For example, if we wanted to actually tap the Rochester market, if they are closing the Silver Lake, pool, and it sounds like they are, we can advertise directly via postcard or whatnot to those neighborhoods and try to get more of those people in aggregate to come over here, because that's really where we cash flow things, is on those passes.
And
you know.
Tim said to use their school system.
Right. If we advertise directly to the folks over there, for them, what's another $20 over last year? They don't, they're not gonna notice.
Those would be more than 20.
Yeah, theirs will be 40, but.
40.
Well, but
still.
you get the point.
Exactly. I mean, $250 to bring a family of 4 over to swim anytime that you want to.
Mhm.
I mean, wow,
Are you getting any, feel from other pools, from other directors or anything?
They will
Are
look at me, they will look at us.
Okay,
They call me and say, what are you guys doing?
okay.
Because they know that in the last 4 years, we've been, pool in southeast Minnesota, And, I know that Dodge Center always calls me and asks me what we're doing. Stewartville always calls me, gets a hold of me and says, hey, what's up, what you looking at? And then I got Pine Island now, they got that new pool over there too. And they don't have the
They
amenities.
couldn't run it this year, though.
Right, they don't have the amenities as what we do, it's a
Mhm.
smaller base type thing. But, as far as lessons, everybody is, we can generate some more money on lessons. And people will pay that. And then as far as increasing, the private lessons, we had, the private lessons, we had booked at, let me see here, we had booked at, $65.19, whatever, and I put it up $15 more, to $80 for a private lesson. I don't know how many we had this year, I can find out with Josh, but, it's extra time, whatever to take and have someone come in. I don't think we had very many, but that's something that we're looking at. As far as tot lessons and tots and all that other stuff, everything's gonna kinda pretty much stay the same. I don't see anything that's gonna have to change, except for I did put in there, and you guys can, whatever, for the swim team, we've been at, swim team for a long time at 40, I went to 50, I put a $10 increase. The water fitness program, I also put a $10 increase for in case somebody wants to do, water fitness programs, instead of $25, they give us $35 when they use our facility. Okay, then we went back to, the aquatic center facility rental. We had a $50 requirement, for a deposit. Now, we could keep it at 50. I thought, well, 50-50, but I thought, well, why not just put 75 on it? And on an increase, and then a 3-hour rental for the facility, we had it at $250. I said that we should increase it at least to $300 or go to $350. Because 3 hours, we still gotta staff the facility.
That was our problem this summer, is we actually operated at loss a number of times.
Mhm.
And that's just not feasible for us. To know we're going in to operate at loss, we can hope that we're gonna have good numbers in the afternoon, but if you're opening, losing $50 for the morning, doesn't make a lot of sense.
Now, this is the things you guys can sure talk and decide what you guys feel on your comments, but I'm just trying to figure out a way how we can generate more.
I have one comment.
Mhm.
So, on your lessons, to jump it from, you're 40 to 60?
Yep.
You got all these people that have just hit this hardship this year, and you
Mhm.
want these kids to learn to swim. I'm fine if you wanna raise it, but maybe 10. If you start bumping it to 20, you're gonna have families that are not gonna send their kids in for lessons. They're just not gonna. You're gonna lose some, cause they're just gonna say, well, they're okay, they passed level 2 or 3, they'll be fine.
Well, actually, I didn't go 20, I went 15.
I thought you said from 40 to 60?
No, 45 to 60.
45 to 60.
Yep.
The other thing is, the swim team, if you keep that only at 50, there are those who will send their kids to swim team instead of lessons,
Yes.
because they get the same one-on-one
thing.
attention.
So,
So you gotta keep those two.
But,
together,
That's a good point.
so instead of
there's no
50,
problem raising your daily fees, your passes, but you gotta keep the lessons down.
See, and that's where I feel,
'Cause
is not right. I think that when you look around and you go and people wanna send their kids to have a swimming lesson, they're gonna pay.
Cause
They're gonna pay.
I know our kids, we're like, it's $40, go, enjoy it. if you had raised it and they had already they were like, you don't need to go, you're fine, you swim. And you're gonna have people looking at that, they're gonna say, wow, they can swim. And
Well,
they're gonna- they're gonna cut it off.
On the reverse side of that, I'm gonna throw in, 'cause I don't disagree with Dan. But on the reverse side, isn't there a problem of swimming lessons are always booked and there's just not enough spots?
No,
No,
No?
no.
no.
You always have openings,
Mhm.
very good handle it,
And
okay.
honestly, the last swim lesson my daughter took, she was like, really, Dad? She was bored with it because she wasn't learning nothing. So-
I look at that on a business end of it, I'm
Yep,
sorry.
nope,
The
I'm-
reason why I'm doing that is
No,
because
I
when you have,
understand.
you have a lifeguard and you have a
Yep.
WSI, you got two people sitting there for a week, and you're paying $45, that amounts to be about what? Not even $1 an hour, you know what I'm saying, an hour?
How long do lessons go?
They go for 45 minutes for 4 days.
Okay, so 4
So
hours.
it's 5 hours.
$10 an hour, basically.
Yeah, $10 an hour.
So you're paying for one person to be there.
Right, but we have to have two.
We have to have two, so
Because
we're
we have
losing,
10.
we're losing money on the lessons too, then.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, geez.
So we have two. We just don't have a WSI. We have lifeguards that help the WSI, cause there's 10 to a class.
Yeah.
And sometimes, some of these sessions, and that's another thing too, some of these sessions and these levels, you almost have to have 13 kids because they wanna sign up, cause these times, cause parents can't get there.
Mhm.
And they gotta have 13, so then that brings in possibly even another lifeguard. You know what I'm saying? So we're
Yeah.
dealing with staff where, you know, WSI's gotta be there. We have to have at least 7 WSIs on staff because we have 7 different units and 7 different sessions, you know. But we fill in with our lifeguards. So, I'm just saying, and the reason why Josh brought this to my attention. He has talked to a lot of different people, and he's went down to that, he's been to Sturville, he's talked to the Dodge Center, he's talked to the people in Faribault, he's talked to the person over in Waseca. And they charge. Lessons is one of their keys where they make money.
I know Stewartville does, 'cause I know I talked to Ben
Then-
down there, and he said they did cash
then-
flow that part of it, for sure.
Then we gotta look at what they're learning out of these lessons, because some of that, they're not getting their bang for their buck at the $45. The kids that are there, some of
But
them.
I
The
don't.
younger ones are.
But as a Red Cross certified lifeguard, you have a certain thing in each level session that you can
Sure.
only teach.
So they should be at a
If-
different level there.
That's right, if they're not on that right level, then they
Right.
should adjust that level,
But
that
it's
should
up
be
to the instructor to move them to the next level.
Very correct, cause the
And-
parent shouldn't
but-
have nothing to do with that.
But you can see it, and I've just seen it in the past, even with my own kids, you can see it when they're there, they're like, oh, Dad, we kinda goofed around with other kids for over half the time.
And what happens is this.
So it's hard to spend that money.
It's hard to spend the money, but then the reason why that sometimes maybe someone can't get adjusted when all the things are pre-registered, cause the classes are full, you're stuck. Because if you move this one up, Johnny moves up and says, well, you should be in level 4, and they already got 13 kids, 14 kids, that's hard to put 14 kids in the water and have 1 or 2 people, or at least 2 people watching them. So I think what happens at our facility is that we just say, okay, here, we'll try to work with you as best as we can, but, you know, you were in level 1 last year. I can't help it that maybe in level 2 that you advanced and maybe should be in level 3. We're trying to keep you going 1, 2, 3 in a 7-year program. And that's what happens, you know. Sometimes they could be a level 3 swimmer, or they could even be a level 4. They've seen that. But it's the situation where when you register and you put your child, and here's what happens a lot too. They'll call me and say, well, I remember they were in level 2, but they've been up at the lake and they're pretty good swimmers, and I think they should be like in level 4. I said, well, how old are they? Well, what we do is we try to kind of keep the ages
Right.
together, so we don't have a wide variety of bigger kids swimming or, you know, whatever. So that's kinda how that all kinda blends in. It's a tough deal, and I understand what you're saying, Dan, and I know that. But on the behalf of registrations, and then people pre-registering, we're almost kinda at a deal that we're stuck. When a person signs up for a level 3, You know, it's tough to move them to level 4 or level 5, I guess. Not that it probably couldn't be done on certain times if some session or some, group is not filled, but that's what they deal with.
Can they
Josh
take-
tells me that.
Can they take I'm just trying to look from the outside, and, take a level 3 swimmer that should be in level 5, you take a level 2 swimmer that should be in level 4, or 3 that should be in 4. And you wanna pull, say you get 9 kids that the lifeguards themselves say they shouldn't be in this level, they should be in advanced, and as you're saying, it's tough to move you out of it, so just be bored and hang with it. Can they, and this, throwing it out there, take these 9 kids, or 19 kids, or whatever, and say, okay, let's create, I can't put you in the level 5, but we can have a side, almost like the individual, swimming lessons away, but instead of an individual, it's an individual group, and say, you know, you're not in 3, you're in 5, so let's get you up, and you're gonna swim what this level 5 is gonna need to do to prove. Can you create a separate, if you see what I'm saying, create a separate group for the kids that can be pulled out?
Right. And I understand what you're saying, and it could
But
happen that way,
you
but-
usually know the year before, you know, you finish this year at level 3, and they say you're gonna advance to level 4 next year, so you're in that class. You can't come in next year and then expect to jump to 5 or 6.
Right, because Red Cross
But you're gonna go
certifies
by-
you, Red Cross really actually wants you to go through the 7 levels. That's what intermediate, they have them
Okay,
types of,
that's-
there's different intermediates, there's beginners, there's intermediates, and there's full-fledged. And they want you to go through that 7.
When I was a kid, it was guppies and sharks and, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that's old.
And I
Yeah,
got the
well, I
rules
am
up
old,
someday.
no doubt about
I'll
that.
look it up with somebody, 'cause I got all the rules on the lessons, and it's up on the back and behind my desk, what Red Cross sends us, whatever. They got really the different rules and regulations of what each kid should be based on. And they have that up at the pool too. And I know that parents believe that maybe their child shouldn't go to be in level 1 because, you know, I mean, that's just a waste of time. But how do we know that they really know how to
Can you-
do the
Exactly. Well, I
process?
sent mine through every level, don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
It's just that when they get towards the last levels, they're there, and there's some that are there that are more advanced than others, and some that aren't. And then it seems like they're like, well, we're kinda bored, 'cause they had to work with a certain group that needed more
The
work.
ones that weren't, like me,
And like me,
was not blessed in swimming lessons, I took every session.
Yeah.
So-
And I can't
so-
answer because that's up to the
Can they
really
test out
individual
earlier?
WSI.
That's what I was gonna ask about, you know, is there a way for them to test out or not? I don't know the rules for
I
Red
don't know
Cross.
either.
You know, that would be a good question for a WSI or somebody that, you know.
And-
Well, maybe
and
that's something
that
we
would
can
help.
check on for
And
next year, too.
Maybe that'd make it more, 'cause it is hard for parents to bring them there, and
'Cause that way
then
you
when
show the
kid
kid
comes-
that they couldn't do what's required in that group. That if you can't
You
pass
can prove
it,
that
test
at 3
out.
to 5, that you
Yeah.
don't belong in a 5 because you couldn't do it, so now you have to take the 4.
Or else we've had people, and I hate to say this, but we've had people when we try to keep the age group together, we've had people that have never had a lesson, but should be in level 4.
Right, they're older.
Where do you start them?
Right.
How do we know that they
Yeah.
aren't advanced? How do we don't know that? What they do, they try to put them in that level because of age, a couple years difference, and see exactly how advanced they are.
Mhm.
If they are advanced, and there's an opening, now I know they've done this before, or if there's an opening to go from level 5 to level 6 right away, because he is advanced, that's fine. If he's not advanced, they will keep him in that session. They don't like to send him down into the next age group where he's dealing with smaller kids and whatever, you
Right.
know. Age comes in this whole thing too.
Yeah, not a perfect process.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's a tough deal.
Mhm.
But I can sure check on things and just see what we can do, but.
I mean, we don't have to have a decision tonight, that's one of the reasons we wanna bring it to you this
Yes.
month.
Yeah.
Take it home, think about it, you know, you've got the numbers that Ryan laid out, and I know from his perspective, he just sees all the red ink
Sure.
at the pool.
I get it.
And, I mean, the council's taking that into consideration too with their budgets and things, so.
And I don't wanna, for gosh sakes, I don't wanna outprice us so people don't come and use our facility and we're in a
But-
worse situation.
But we're gonna try to not lose as much money.
Well, and if we're just keeping up with the market, I
Right.
mean, you know, I have to look at these numbers too, like the YMCA, that's expensive.
It's
You know,
expensive.
the rack is even more than that, so, you know,
But we're not the Y, we're not the RAC, we're,
I know, but when it comes to these services,
Yeah.
you know,
but, you know what I'm saying too.
oh, I got you, believe me, it's a balancing
you
act,
know,
right?
It's, as much as I hate to say it, it's another service, another amenity for the city. It's, we've always known you're not gonna make money. And granted, we don't wanna lose $100,000 either, I get it. But, you know, you're gonna struggle, we'll struggle with it. I mean, it's gonna come down ultimately to a council decision, and we need to offset the cost. I agree raising it. But we gotta be careful how we do it, and you can't look at this year's numbers at all.
Well, I think that's why Ryan defaulted at 19.
Yes,
So,
I agree.
You're right. I mean, one thing to think about too is just, you know, I think target marketing is gonna be important for us too, if we put some of our advertising dollars into the Rochester market.
Mhm.
Because that's, you know, in the long run, if we can cash flow some of that more, you know, like
Sure.
this year, a lot of our customers, we had over $100,000 of sales. It all came in single passes.
Yep.
A large percentage of that was outside of Casson.
Yep. And then a lot of your residents want that season pass. They
Right.
love that option of sending their kids when they can instead of sending them with money.
And we want those season passes too, because that's a baseline of revenue for us.
Yeah.
You know, we had a hot summer this year.
Yeah.
Okay, a normal summer we would've had a really good year. Well, we got 2 weeks late into it, cost a little extra, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. Next year, if we don't have the baseline revenue, it's a wet year, it's a cool summer.
Yeah, and a
You
lot
know,
of it, like
yeah.
you say, you're right, Tim, that base is on the weather.
Right.
We all
Oh,
know
yeah,
that,
we all-
because we have a bad June, remember that one year we had a bad June? It
Right.
was terrible, it
Yeah.
was cold.
Well, and if you have a bad June, the whole season's shot.
Yeah, it is.
People
It
make
is.
other plans.
Yeah.
Yep. It's kinda sad.
So, it's a bad deal. So
All right.
anyway, I just threw these numbers out there, I will bring, and I'll get it typed up, and you guys think about it,
Can
but,
you send out your numbers in an email to us?
Yeah, I can do all that and get it typed up, and I'll send it there, and then I'll give this to Tim. Like I said, it's only my suggestion on the
Yep.
numbers, if you guys come up with a better plan or a better way where you feel that each individual thing might work a little bit better or whatever, that's up to you. I started somewhere, based
Yep.
on what Tim said, I had to start somewhere to see what we could do,
When I'm just throwing input, I'm not saying my answers are right,
Yeah.
I'm just throwing things out
so.
there.
I would put the swim team up.
But we can discuss that after you send out the numbers, and then we can send back our
Yeah.
feedback.
Just as what the comment was thinking, if you're not gonna swim lesson, go to swim team, it's cheaper.
Right, I think
That's
those
why-
these should be the same,
You
yeah.
just,
right.
So-
or the swim team. should
Whatever
be-
number we
even
pick.
more.
Right.
But what age group is the swim team? What is the swim team? Explain that to me.
Swim team is actually different age groups, different age kids that join the swim team because they have meets and that stuff. They have practices, and then they learn different strokes, and they learn how to butterfly, they learn how to dive, you know, off the ledge, they learn how to do different things.
Okay.
It's a program which they do learn a lot of good basic techniques, but it's a competitive type thing. So then when they have our meets, then they have different age groups. When they set up meets, there's a three-town meet that's all involved, Stewartville, Dodge Center, and Casson, and I think Hayfield was too, maybe
Was it
four.
Byron too?
Byron could have been too, maybe they did, but then they have a regional meet, and we always have it here in August. And they all come together, and then parents come and that stuff, and they have a really nice time, and it's
So everything you just explained me, told me it should be more than the swimming lessons.
Cause you learn it more than your.
Because you've got a lot more going, you have the competitive, you should be paying more than the swimming lessons and less.
Right.
So you definitely wanna keep those people that say, well, I'm gonna just join the swim team, do the same thing. Nuh-uh, you gotta pay more then, so you wanna be in the lessons. help
So you
with the
get
lessons.
better, so you wanna be on the team.
Yeah.
Right.
So to me, the swim team, if you guys went from 40 to 50, it should be like 40 to 75, but at one point or other, here's your communities around, what do they have for the fee for a swim team?
Right.
That's what we don't know, or I don't know.
Right. We don't, I
But in
don't.
my opinion, the swim team should be higher than the lessons based on everything you just said, because you've got some extras in there that are the perks.
So, we'll bring her back here
Yeah.
next month with more discussion.
Sounds good. Anything else on the aquatic center key thing?
Thanks for working on it, Ron.
Yeah. Adult basketball league, what right now stands is that I have been in contact, we didn't have basketball last year because we didn't have enough teams. We gotta have at least 4 teams to be able to have a league. I did contact all the 4 or 5 teams that played the previous year in 2018. And they all said that they're not interested in playing. Number one thing was because of COVID. Adults are just backing off of things, and they just don't wanna be involved in that. Number two, also at the school, it's the cleaning part too at the school, you know, so, We probably will not have another adult basketball league this year for 21 coming up, but that doesn't mean we won't try again in 22. Hopefully things will settle down and we'll go back and do that. And then I'll advertise for teams to see if we can get that league back going up on Sunday, okay? So, just to let you know.
Maybe there'll be new interest.
People interest, could be, yeah. Any questions on that? Okay, old business, Stonewall funding update. I'm gonna give this over to Janet, cause she's the one kind of been doing the fundraising and doing stuff like that for the day, for the wall and that stuff. I do know that you did email me and said you had another $500 check for something.
$500 came and she wants it for advertising.
Okay,
So that's something she said that we as a park board should decide. She said she had never seen a flyer. I had done flyers before and for my cars, she had never seen it. She thought we should put something in the paper. So if we're gonna do the paper, we should do the shopper, cause not everybody gets the paper.
okay,
So maybe we should consider using this money for a few ads in the shopper.
okay,
And then she also donated $5,000, but that is only if the wall goes. If the wall does not go, she wants it back.
okay.
And I have started a fund at the bank, so anybody can go in and put money in, at Home Federal and say it's for the wall, and they'll find the account and put it in there.
Okay. I know them cans were not in very good shape. Janet, how did you do on that?
I went out and purchased some clear lock boxes.
Did you?
I did.
Okay.
And, Casey's is a real good place to have.
Okay,
They actually called me, cause I put my name on their contact, you know, in case I get full, and they contact me and said, it's full, come empty it. Like, wow, already? So, I have them up, and I'm thinking I'm gonna probably take from Quick Trip. They stuck it up here, and nobody really sees it. And
okay.
I was gonna ask Greg if I could put one over at the other register. I have one, so if I could put it over at the second one.
Yeah, but even the main one, the ad is the main one, but,
Okay, I
yeah,
don't know.
it's not gonna, we can make a spot
Do
for
you
it.
check it so often then, Jill?
I do, I've been checking them and stuff. There's been a few people that put $20 in, $5. You know, people are giving. I mean, there's some change, of course, you know, they're throwing their change in when they purchase something.
Money's money.
You know, but people are giving $20 and stuff, and
Right,
so we're up to like
Mhm.
$11,000, I believe.
That's
Cause
not
here
bad.
has, what, 5,500 or something?
yeah, I mean, I think
And-
everything, the total amount was $66,000 to do complete job. That's even the sidewalk in front
Yeah.
and the brick and everything
And we
from-
shouldn't count that sidewalk and the curb, cause that's gonna get done no matter what. That should be separate from the wall, really.
The
that
wall is
needs-
45 and then the brick is another 6, so I suppose 51,000, I suppose.
So, if we can raise, you know, I've been telling people like 43, if we can raise 43, I would think that we could get some money up from the city for some of this, cause it is a city.
Right. What do you
thing.
think as far as longevity, how long do you think it will take you to get that far? I mean, just offhand, what do you think?
I don't know, if we advertise in the shop, and maybe I'll get some people. The person, she just called me up one day and she talked to John Olive, and he told her about it, and she gave her my number or something, I guess, and
Okay.
told me. Did you get some guy named Ed to come in and talk to you?
Yeah, that was Ed Browner from Claremont, whatever.
Yeah.
After he talked to me, he said, nope, you guys got it on hand.
Yeah, he had come
He
to
was
City
completely-
Hall, and somebody gave him my number, and I was like, don't call me, I can't tell you, yes, you can go
He
fix
was-
it.
He was saying, he said, I could plaster the wall for 3,000 and it'd be fine.
We've
Yeah.
heard that before, right?
Yeah, I thought,
So, by the time he left, though, he said, I think you guys are on the right track.
yeah. Yeah, I just sent him down to you, I thought, no, I can't say, yeah, fix it.
I mean, I think 43 is a good target, Janet.
You know,
I think if
so-
that, I think the council would certainly take that into account if that was a number that was viable, yeah.
Well, hopefully we can, I mean, I'm putting it out on Facebook.
Get quite a ways here in a few months. I mean,
Yes,
another
you've
thousand,
done real
You
well,
know?
so, yep,
that's a good sign.
good job.
And I have, found some grants to apply for, so,
Good.
I'm trying. I had to do it through CARE because we don't have 501c3 status. I did go ahead and get the tax thing, which gave it nonprofit, but the 501c3, I looked it up and it cost you to get it. And I was like, I'm not paying for it.
Right. Right,
So,
Is it expensive to get something like that?
I think I read 75 to 600, depending.
But then it's all
What's the other,
it's all the
did you get an attorney to do it or not?
auditing and all the paperwork that,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the, that's where it takes the
It
time and.
It takes somebody to know what they're doing for that, and, but at least for now, we do have the account at the bank, which is listed under a nonprofit. So they can give, but they will not get a slip. If anybody gives X amount of dollars, you know, and they wanna deduct it, they just do it and hope they don't get audited, because there's nothing saying we're gonna name a slip.
Okay,
We don't have to.
okay. Good job, thank you.
So anyway, we need to discuss the $500 advertising. What are we gonna do?
How much does it cost to go into the advertiser?
I don't know.
Cause I know Facebook, you know, you can boost posts too, and I don't know if you've seen much online, but I know that isn't super expensive if you want to spend some of it on online advertising, but that's
I
up to
have-
you.
Yeah, we could do that, but I have a feeling this lady doesn't have Facebook.
Okay.
That's what I'm
So you think
guessing.
she wants to see it probably, huh?
Yeah,
Well, that makes sense.
you know,
The gentleman, Hanson, is it?
Keith,
Whatever, maybe just go up
Yeah.
and talk to him.
He might give you a good deal too.
Yeah.
They'll take the money.
This whole deal, you know,
They need the money.
okay.
yeah, they would.
So just go spend it at the paper then, is
That's
that
what I
what?
would say.
well, I think
That's
a
our
quarter
best
page
bet.
ad is about $300
Yeah, I would say
$300.
at least.
Yeah.
or more, so, you know,
Well,
you may
we
say.
don't have enough to put it
See if you
in
can get
one.
2 weeks out of it, or
The best,
negotiate them
what I
out.
suggest you go to Keith and say, I've got $500, what can I get for either 3 weeks,
Mhm.
back to back, or every other week?
Yeah,
With this
I like
money,
that.
make it fit, this is what it's for, I don't, you know, I'm not a business, we just wanna invest in the, you know, get people knowing about the wall, and he may, like in my case, I said, I went back here 3 weeks ago and said, I've got an ad pre-built, I've got $100, make it fit, whatever I'm gonna get for $100, and then it being a bigger ad than what I thought. So, cause sometimes he's got extra space in the paper, especially in the advertiser, it's, you know, it's pretty much.
That's profit for them, anything they can get in there, really.
Right.
I think he
So
did.
he's got a little more leniency in the shopper than he does in the
Right.
subscription papers.
He did give us, didn't he give us a half-page ad right in the beginning, I think? I think
There was
we-
something, yeah.
I think we got
So.
half page at
and-
first,
and
so I think.
he's very accommodating, just say I've got
I can certainly
$500
try.
and, you know, if I can get 3 every other week,
Right.
make it fit, what can you get me?
Okay,
I know the lady, what's her name?
Karen,
Is it
Jorgensen?
Jorgensen, the other one, there's another one that always calls me and asks me
Oh.
updates.
Renee
on the
Berg?
wall.
yeah,
Renee.
Renee Bird,
Renee,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm just gonna refer her to you on a
Oh.
lot of that stuff.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you're doing the fundraising now, and as far as the city is, that's kinda where we're kinda setting, you know, to see exactly how much fundraising can be raised, you know, for the wall, and I can answer any questions, on our part, as much as we can. But if she calls and asks me, you know, how's the fundraising going, whatever, I'm just gonna refer her to you, so then she could probably get a story or something if she wants to put more stuff in the paper about it,
Okay.
which I'm sure she will, 'cause she's called me quite a few different times.
Is she?
Yeah, so, does that sound okay? Okay.
I'd like some help from others
Right,
for
I'm sure you could.
fundraising, come up with some ideas, pass the word. You know, I put out $50 myself on those containers.
Mhm,
I got a discount, 'cause military discount, so it helped a little bit, but,
right.
you know, I went online, found them, ordered them, and, put them out, go check them,
So how many did you have out?
5.
You have 5. In what stores? Hardware Hank, Casey's?
Hydro Tank, Casey's, Quick Trip. I took it out of the liquor store, Kathy didn't want it.
Okay,
I put it over at a beauty shop. License Bureau,
okay. The beauty shop, is that the one right at the
Main
post
Image,
office?
right,
Main Image, Main
Main
Image, okay.
Image there. I got it at the Variety Store, McCurran Financial. That might be it, I can't.
Good.
Cause I
That's
put
great.
some of your the Legion has a couple.
Legion has a couple, okay.
I think the clear containers work better than the cans, like Greg said, you know, people can see that there's money in there, and the cans you don't really see.
Right, and sometimes they just,
You
Mhm.
I guess a spare change, but whatever this is, I'm gonna go in, they may sometimes even just look, you know, it's, knowing that it's a donation for something, it's probably a good cause, because we have it in our counter, so it's like, it's a good, if we've got it there, it's, you know, I'm backing it as well type thing, so,
Mhm. Yeah, Casey's has it right there at the register, and it's really a good spot, and.
see, in the retail wise, when people have change and bills you're exchanging, that's why it's working. You go to McKern, they're
Yeah.
using a credit card, or here's a check, so.
Yeah, they're
that's
really-
Why Quick Trip, you know, and I can see why Quick Trip has it somewhere else or High, cause they're selling their stuff on the counter space, just like I would, I have my space to sell. That's, you know, is there for my profit, not for somebody else's, so.
They're not supposed to allow them. At first she said no, and then I said, but Casey's let me. She goes, well, okay, go ahead then, just don't say anything.
And that-
So
that
so
quick
she's
trip?
let me, but it's not really.
Have you tried Subway?
No, I haven't.
Because there they pay for the subs, and they're
Right.
usually.
That's
either
true,
got
I
cash.
almost always get changed there
Yes.
unless I use my card.
Yeah.
you know.
They don't want you to use money anymore there.
No, that's true, yeah.
Well, a lot of places don't want you to use cash or change anymore.
Yeah.
So it's
I
gonna be
could try
tougher to try to
Subway.
find, but, you know, you're trying to find the places that have
The foot traffic
the
is the trick,
exchange
you know.
of coin dollars and.
How about the chocolate shop in Manville?
She, puts it off to the side.
How about
Because-
the-
ice cream place.
I thought about the ice cream place, but you know, they're working for chips, so,
Yeah,
you know, that's the only problem there. We would
Yeah, well,
kinda take
they're
our cents, their
teenagers.
chips, maybe.
Their foot traffic's gonna be dropping off, I would imagine, with the
I
food
would
orders,
imagine
too.
so.
Starting, you can see,
I can try,
The new Mexican restaurant might be a good one to target.
yeah,
Is it
when is
open
that
yet?
opening?
It's supposed to be open, was it November first or
Early
something like
November.
that, Jan?
Yeah, the first week in November.
So, I mean, I'd see if you can't get in there, I know that, was it Manorville Restoration, or who got the permit for the charitable
Manville
gambling there?
Restoration.
Yeah, I think it was Manorville Restoration got the permit for the charitable gambling there, so, but they certainly would be one to take a look at, cause I would imagine, at least initially, the foot traffic there is gonna be pretty good. I mean, we'll find out how good the food is, huh? You know, that first week, it'll be good or not, I don't know.
They were opening earlier and
Yeah,
everybody's been waiting.
Yeah, well, I think so.
Has there been any activity inside of it, just remodels, or?
A little bit. There was a truck there today, I heard.
I seen a trailer last week, here it's backed up.
I know they have a new Facebook page,
Oh, yeah.
so that's good, 'cause I think they're gonna put their, they had an apology on there 'cause they couldn't get something. They were having a hard time getting their, well, we're getting off topic, but
Yeah.
they're having a hard time, just like everybody is, trying to get some of the stuff back ordered,
Mhm.
equipment and materials and menus and all kinds of stuff, so.
Yeah.
But,
Stoves and refrigerators.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, thank you,
That's what I
Diana,
mean,
thank you.
Mhm.
We'll go down to the next, Meadowland Picnic Shelter. Of course, that's the park there behind the football field out there, Lampland edition. The guys here have been really, actually working really hard on the shelter. We had some problems getting treated wood, of course.
right.
It was for the post. We had all the rafters and stuff, whatever, we had them all done from the previous year, we had them stored, but we had to get posts and stuff, and that took a while. And we finally got it started, we've been doing it here for 3 weeks. We have the frame up, the steel siding's up except for some J-channel, that had to be reordered, and we got the steel roof done. And the cement's been, floor's been all poured by Sheldon and stuff, and looks really
my
nice.
goodness.
A&A Electric has done everything as far as they can do, they got it all wired, we got 2 security lights that are gonna work on a photo eye, so at night it will come on, just like the park shelters up at our park in the Lions and North Park, so that's a good deal. We're just waiting for the electric inspection for that to be done, then we can put the meter in and that'll be ready to go. It was really cool, Scott Lampton, the developer of the area, he called me, and, he said, hey, he said, he drove down in there and looked at the shelter, he thought, man, that looks really nice, you guys did a really good job, and he's excited about it, and he said, hey, he says, you wanna give me a price of 2 maintenance-free steel, nice rubber coated type, maintenance-free type tables, picnic tables for underneath there, he says, I'll buy them, I'll purchase them for you.
Good.
So, I said, sure, so I got a hold of my table guy and came up for 2 tables, was $2,223, and I called him today, and Scott said, well, when I get the bill, just give it to him, and I'll write the check out, so.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, nice.
So we got 2 tables gonna be renovated and paid for by Scott for the shelter, so that's a good
Fabulous.
deal.
Did you get some pictures of that action over there?
Yeah, I think.
Okay, 'cause I'd love to show the council that, or I think that could be a nice piece for the newspaper too, maybe one of these winter weeks when they're getting a little long on the tooth, I can see the headline, dreaming of spring, and you know, there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chris, he's our picture taker, so he puts it
Okay.
on his phone and we'll just download it.
Okay, that'd be great, because I think anytime we do stuff like that, I love to get the
Yep.
attention, just like when we do the trees in the spring, you know, it's nice for them to see that, you know.
Right, exactly.
And it's not free, this is a part of the thing you spend on, you know, with
Right.
our budget, so
Right.
it's good to get some credit for that.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
really
that's,
nice.
yeah, so that's kinda nice, and we did get all the playground equipment delivered, off the semi, whatever, and, that's at our stored already, so next spring, once things kinda whatever, we can get that remaining second phase done on that modular at that area, and that part will be looking pretty good.
Yeah, that'd be a perfect segue, then you could be working on that one and have pictures of the shelter and the equipment going in, boom, that's a nice article right there to lead into the year.
Yep, so, definitely do that, so,
So
yeah.
then, I mean, my son lives up there, the shelter looks very nice.
Mhm.
So years ago, with Lamplin, remember they talked about a parking lot
Mhm.
getting done?
Mhm.
And, you know, walkway from the street to the parking, you know, to the park, to the school, is there anything on that? 'Cause I mean, that would,
Yep.
I mean, alongside with the park, that would really benefit that whole neighborhood out there.
Right. To make a long story short, first of all, right on the west side of that playground,
Mhm.
whatever, is supposed to be the bike path that comes up off of 20th
Yep.
and comes down right along the bike path and then leads to the, through the woods there to the,
Mhm.
by the football field where there's gonna be a
Yep.
path.
Mhm.
I got a bid for that here, when Teresa was here, it was $21,000 to have Scott's Crew Rochester Services put in up to the playground, from that 20th Street
Mhm.
to whatever. So that is one thing that has to be done. Scott did say that he would donate a culvert, you know, that there's a ravine in there, right by the, he would donate the
Mhm.
culvert, and then, you know, we would have to go in there and clear out the woods, you know, there's probably about, I think there's about 40 feet of woods in there where it have to be cleared.
Yep.
I talked to Mr. Matuska about having a bike path, I mean, a trail or a walking path, and that is in the plans in the future for the school. So it'd be really nice where all the kids could walk in that area, get on that, and then walk right to school. And they don't have to get out on Maston Creek
Right.
Yeah.
Road and
That's
walk.
so far out, yeah.
It's so far out
A lot of
around.
them cut through the woods.
They do
Right.
now.
And
So
there's
that-
Till winter.
there's barbed wire in there,
Yeah,
so
yes.
it's not good.
Yeah, so that's kind of the plan as far as the path goes, okay? As far as, the other thing was, is what you were saying again?
Parking lot.
The parking lot. I talked to Scott. Originally, a few years back, he was saying if we could get the shelter up and we can get the playground module, that he would come in and he would, we did all the gravel work, which we already have, but just have to freshen it up, he would come in and lay blacktop. He's changed his mind on that. I don't know.
But didn't-
He said a few things, I just don't wanna talk about it, but anyway.
Right, but
he's
didn't the
changed his
city
mind.
do him a favor out there with the water? I mean, wasn't that part of the agreement, that there was issues with the water?
I do not know. All I
I mean,
know is
that's where it
that-
all came from, was, years ago, was if we helped, the city would help with the water issue for they had low water pressure. And I
Yeah,
don't know what.
It was
the city-
dead-ended, I know that.
I don't know what the city did, but in that same conversation, he said, oh, you fix that for me, for that development out there, I'll put you a parking lot.
Yeah, they did,
But
but remember
They
Chuck,
looped
you
it.
were on the
Yeah.
board, I think you.
Yeah, and
you
that
were
helped the
there.
water pressure out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
and
looped it.
then that same conversation was,
Gosh, that really
you do
sounds
that
good.
for me and I'll, you know, build you a parking lot, but I know how construction people work, it's a one-sided deal.
I think, you know, not to belabor this, I think we will have some conversations with him, because he is annexing a parcel in
Mhm.
on the west side there. So originally, he was only gonna bring a little piece of it, now he's proposed to bring the whole parcel in.
Always changed.
So I think as part of a annexation, not as the annexation itself, but
Yeah.
as part of that conversation, there's some things we'll probably be talking with him, and maybe I'll talk to you afterwards, Ronnie, and, cause I know that Scott's had a up and down relationship with the school or with the city a little bit, and obviously I wanna work with people as much as we can, cause we'd love to get that park parking lot paved, 'cause it's, right now it's kind of a mud hole in the summertime,
Right,
so.
and if we get it paved, then comes our basketball court.
Right.
Put a basketball hoop up there.
And that'd be
they can use the
fantastic right
blacktop
there,
for the-
sure.
For the bucket, you know.
And then we can put our tennis courts over where the basketball courts are right
Yeah.
now, right?
So just one right after the other.
Right, I like it, Ronnie, it sounds
Yeah, we got
good,
it,
you've got a
we
plan.
it. But you're right, Roger, I mean,
Yeah.
now I kinda recall that conversation, but,
Yeah, 'cause he was in such a hurry, you get a playground out there for me, and you do this, and then you fix my water problem, I'll put you a parking.
And then, you know,
But-
I wanna put a.
But then times change.
And I wanna put a sand
And it ain't in
volleyball
writing.
court where that main,
Right,
that
exactly.
gas line goes.
Turns water out.
We also
Yeah.
have that, you know, a sand volleyball court scheduled
Yeah.
in that park too, where that main, you know,
Mhm.
we 50-foot, main right away for the
Yep.
gas line. And we can do that. I talked to the guy from Natural Gas, he said, yeah, that's no problem, you're not digging that deep, we can put in a nice volleyball court there too, so. The park is happening.
Yeah.
And at least we got electric now, we'll have a street light in there,
Mhm.
and, we'll have some
Nice.
lighting, so it's pretty decent.
My grandkids like it.
Yep, so. Okay, Casson Aquatic Center repair update. Lemmy Jones Recreation Company has come in and he has repainted all the play features in the pool and the zero depth, so that's all taken care of. They were there probably for about a week, so that's all done, it looks really nice, the colors look good. The little slide there that's in the zero depth there had to have some repair work done, had to have some fiberglass repaired, and that's all done and repainted also, looks nice. We will have to purchase a new mat that lays, after the kids slide down it, that go on a mat, we have to replace that mat's not in good shape, so we'll have to get that, and he said, I can price that, he said it's about $1,500, so we'll have to buy that for next year. The two big slides, pretty much have been they went to every crack and has got them all chipped away and got all the excess stuff out of there, that's all done on both slides. The blue slide is actually completely done, it's all been rebuffed and all kind of recoated with this gel stuff and then all waxed up, so that one's done. He's just got to go in and just rebuff and re-wax the, yellow one. He had to go and leave, he had to be out in California, he did at a certain time for another job, on a repair job, but he planned on coming back here by the end of the month to finish that yellow one. Okay, it's not very long, he'll probably be here a day and it'll be done. But, he did call, I called him and he said he's still planning to get here before the end of October. He said he can work in 40-degree weather, it ain't a bad deal, so, we just don't want moisture, he said, so. Anyway, so that'll get done, and, so our slide should be good for, he says for at least another good 5 years.
Nice.
Which, if we take care of it properly, and he told us what we need to do, and that's gonna be something Josh will have to let the lifeguards know, is that every night when we shut down, them features and the slides have gotta be continuously washed down with fresh, clean water to get all the chlorine off. The chlorine is the thing that's killing us. So they're gonna have to spend some time, and they're gonna have to get the hoses out, and they're gonna have to wash them down. And they're spraying it down, standing in there and spraying stuff off. Going up on top of the slide and let it all wash down, so that's kind of basically what's gonna have to happen. So, we got kind of a plan for that.
That's good.
So it worked out good. Okay?
Nice.
Okay, any, questions on that? Okay, last one, open park board position. Basically what it, we received three applications to replace, Jason on our park board, whatever. I went through them, I kinda went through them here for the last day or so, and I've looked at pretty much everyone. Every one of them is qualified, of course, we know that, and that stuff. And what I'm gonna plan on doing is that basically, next month, I'm gonna bring to the board, the name that I feel, the person who I feel I think would do a good job for us. Like I said, it's always one of them things, you get three, you're just gonna have to pick one, and I'm gonna pick this person, and so I'll recommend to the board next month in November, to put this person on, and then we will have them start in January of 2021. So we can give the other ones a letter and say thank you for applying, and then we can give some to this other person and get somebody on. So she should be able to start in January, and then she could have her, is it a 3-year term?
Yes.
3-year term. So So just to let you know as far as that, we did receive 3 applications. Okay? So, other than that, does anybody else have anything?
Do you have a update with Legion and the Veterans Park or anything? Is there anything coming up for putting a memorial up there at all, or?
Memorial for,
At the Veterans Park.
The Veterans Park?
oh, not a thing yet.
I think they're pretty, strapped right now. I was over there for lunch and I talked to them, and I'm, you know, a member, and I think with the COVID, they've really been hit on their regular cash flow, and it's also hit their charitable gambling pretty hard too, so I wouldn't imagine much this year, maybe next year, I don't know.
I do know that they wanted to get that awning over the Freedom Rock
Right,
completed,
right,
and
that's
spent
done
money to
now.
get
Yeah,
that
that's
done,
done,
so
yeah.
I do know that. So, but yeah, we still have that in plan and in the works.
Do you have a design mock-up of what you'd like on
No.
it? Cause I go through these little towns and big towns,
Oh.
and I always look and I try to look for, like I was in Claremont yesterday, and I was over there right off of their Main Street, they've even got a little one off of Main Street now, and it's not bad, it's a nice little one, but I mean, you know, all these little towns, and I some of them are similar, you know, a lot of them got the concrete films and the flags, and I just don't know if maybe we wanted to control that process without getting too many other people inputting. You know, for me, it's kinda like, if I say, here's the plan, here's what it looks like, you know, we'd like you to help fundraise for that or pay for it, as opposed to, well, you tell us what you want, and you tell us what you want, and you tell us what you want, cause they're gonna have some very in Blue Earth, where I was working last year, they have 2 different veterans groups that both want memorials, they both want them in different spots in town, and they hate each other. And, you know, it's not an Army-Navy thing, you know, but it's, but it, you know, it's kinda like, the city's like, well, we wanna support you guys, but we can't afford to give you both $20,000 or something like that, it doesn't work, you know? So I don't know if it wouldn't be good for us to maybe start taking a look at the design we'd be interested in, if we actually wanna make this a reality.
We have a person that can do that.
Oh, wonderful.
And actually, he works for the Veteran Services in Dodge County.
Oh, great.
Named Jensen. or
Okay.
Jeff. I
Okay.
can't think of his last name, but anyway.
Todd?
Isn't that Todd Nelson or
Something
something?
Todd
Nelson,
Nelson?
that's who it is,
Oh,
yep.
okay.
And he has got actually the computer program to set something up, and he even give us printouts of what it would look like.
Okay.
He actually has went and designed, a lot of them already for other towns.
Sure.
And people, he told me that. He just said, whenever you guys are ready to have something put in, just get a hold of him and he'll work with us, so maybe me and you, whatever, could have him come over someday.
Well, I just think that'd be a nice project for us next year, you know, along with that community garden we talked about
Yeah.
last time,
Yeah,
you know.
and then we could probably figure out what we wanna do, and he could give us maybe some ideas, or show us some ideas, and figure out maybe some pricing, and we can start the process.
Yeah, I think that'd be great,
You
yeah,
know.
there's always something.
There was one on, I saw, New Prague is putting one in,
Mm-hmm.
and I think, does Old Town have a granite place over there?
Yep.
That's who's
Are they
doing
gonna do the
all
stone for
granite.
'em? 'Cause that's the thing, we could even maybe work with somebody to see if they could
Yeah.
donate something,
Yeah.
or part of it at least.
Yep. So, anyway, yeah, we can, I'll get a hold of maybe.
Oh, that sounds
give
good.
him a call or something.
Yeah, all right.
Other than that, anything else? Okay, I move to have an adjournment.
When's the next meeting?
Next meeting will be November the third Tuesday.
But, what is that?
So, let's see here.
Like 17th or something like that?
Just before the tree lighting.
Yep, just before the tree lighting, okay?
You can practice your speech on it, Dan.
Yeah, yeah. You'll have to come the night of, 'cause that's when I'll make it up. That's the easiest way to do those.
Well, hey, extemporaneous speaking, that's the way to go.
Okay. Sounds good.
That's how I do most of my speeches.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Yep, thank you.
Stay safe out there.
Mhm.
Sorry, I had to do it, well,
Oh.
I have to.
Things ready?
Yep, thank
About a
you.
week.